Welcome to Eggcellent Adventures, where I, your host Reec Swiney, take a step away from my duties as a radio and TV personality and give you a first-hand look at my other love, backyard chickens and homesteading. Take a listen to conversations I have with others who are in farming, homesteading, and connected brands. And some of those conversations go a little like this.
She does say I have too much, though. She says I have too many, but I don't think I have enough.
The chicken math started mathing.
Yep, it's never ending.
I only started with like 4 laying hens. Now I have over 100 chickens and geese and quail.
So the first question we ask everybody that comes on to the Eggcellent Adventures, what was your old cluck moment?
The first thing that comes to mind is when the first time I got locked inside one of my own chicken coops.
We talk about the highs, the lows, and everything in between. Now let's see who's on this episode of Eggcellent Adventures. We're back with another Eggcellent Adventures episode. Today we have a young woman coming all the way from across the country, the state of Washington, not Washington, D.C. Sarah of Cats and Cluckers is right here for some Eggcellent Adventures. What's going on?
Oh my gosh, not much. Excited to be here with you today, talking everything, hopefully cats and chickens.
We absolutely are. I think at some point when people have regular pets, they add these farm animals and you try to see if they're going to merge together. But you got cats and cluckers, and I know this is a question that comes up a lot. Like, how is it safe to have cats around chickens, or can I have barn cats and whatnot? So I think you're the perfect person to take on this question and this task.
I mean, the simplest answer is yes, absolutely. It's completely safe to have both cats and chickens or poultry together. What it really comes down to is the work that you need to do to socialize them. Both from a chicken's perspective, so they don't actually like freak out every time they see a cat, but then vice versa with your cats. So I had my cats first before I had the chickens. And so what we did, since I had the chickens inside the house, is we just slowly integrated and let the cats really take time to explore. I also had a couple of new kittens at the same time. And so all of it was just about socializing and spending time with them. And so that makes a huge difference, right? Like, you still always want to be safe. There's still like predator prey aspects to certain things. But when they're socialized, and honestly, sometimes chickens can take care of themselves, to be honest.
Yeah, they're pretty tough. I don't understand when people say, oh, you're scared, you're a chicken. I'm like, not my chickens. My chickens are actually the opposite. They are almost ignorantly, have like an ignorant amount of confidence.
My new batch of satin frizzles are breathtakingly stupid. Like,
they're beautiful.
They would not survive in real life, right? No. If it wasn't for my constant intervention, they would have already died like a million times. Like half the time when I go to lock everybody up, I find like one of them asleep with their head sticking out of like their enclosure bar. And I'm like, this is great. Are you just asking for a raccoon to walk by and just like rip your head off? Like, can you please like, let's go back into the coop, shall we? And since I can't trust you, you're obviously getting locked up at night still. But yeah, it depends. I have a couple super savvy chickens that are amazing and take no nonsense and would more than happily go after one of my cats. And then I have the satin frizzles that,
they just long to be chicken nuggets.
Sometimes.
Right. I've learned that like the prettier the breed, the worse off they are at life.
There is something to be said about like your regular standard chickens versus some of like the fancy breeds, and how we've really bred for looks, right? And I think a lot of times those survival numbers just go down. I mean, look at Polish and silky chickens. Like, their feathers can't even get out of their face to actually see predators.
Or food, or water, or anything.
And, and sulky chicks are so hard to raise too. Like, they actually take a little bit of extra work. And like, for like the first few weeks, like they can just randomly die on you versus like other chicken breeds that are just real hardy, and a lot of those heritage breeds are a lot hardier too, right?
Yeah.
So it's been fascinating. over the years to really learn more about chickens in general.
Right. So usually we ask our guests, what is their oh cluck moment, right? Like the moment that you knew, okay, I'm a chicken person, I'm a chicken mom or dad, right? So what is your oh cluck moment?
Um, for me, it was the very first time one of my chickens got sick because I originally, just thought it was a great idea. I had had poultry growing up, and had always wanted to bring poultry back when we had a large enough space land to live on. And we got them originally to have fresh eggs, right? Like I was tired of participating in kind of like the large farm industry on a lot of things because a
Right.
lot of their practices are so inhumane.
And then the
And
quality is
I
not great either.
Right. And so I was like, let's get some chickens. We'll have some fresh eggs. And, we're going along. I didn't realize how much they had crept into my heart
Hmm.
until the first time one wasn't feeling well and I had to bring it inside. And the level of panic attack and calling a veterinarian,
Mhm.
took me back. Like
Yeah.
it surprised me. I was like, oh my God, I'm ready to rush this chicken to like the emergency room if I can't have somebody like talk me down. And that's when I really realized how much I they had wormed their way into my heart and that they weren't just a reason to have eggs anymore.
Right.
Like they had become as close to my pets as my cats were. Um, they were a part of the family. We cared about what happened to them and making sure that they were okay.
That echoes so many of our guests, and people will just see online and say, "I just started out. I wanted some fresh eggs. Now I've got more birds, or I have actual pet chickens. They got names. We know their character traits and all of that type of stuff. And then they're researching, and you had to open up a West Wing, if you will, in your house to care for this chicken and this bird, and you just get deep down these rabbit holes.
Yeah, it was also a turning moment a couple of years later too when I had gotten another set of chicks. Um, I had actually gotten one because animal control found a stray one, like a little baby 3-week-old chick wandering around a car wash.
Mm.
And they knew I was a crazy chicken lady at this point.
So
And
the name
so
has spread. The
yeah,
legend of Sarah has spread. I love it.
and so they asked if I would take care of it. Great. We ended up keeping her. I got 2 more chicks the same age. And a defining moment for me was literally so one of the other chicks that I got ended up having a prolapsed rectum
Mm.
very early on. And so here I am sitting in the dark with gloves, with lubricant, with my finger up a baby
Chicken.
chick's rectum,
Right.
holding it in. And I'm just like, and it's in the dark to calm her down to make sure
Mhm.
that she's okay. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is my life now. Like
There are levels to
apparently,
chickening, and you are at level 49 and a half trying to help a baby chick's poop shoot. I've been there.
yes.
I have. I've been there.
We've reached that part of the show where we hook you up with some insider information. And this week, it's all about Eaton Pet and Pasture. And I got a 20% discount code for you. As farmers, we know the love and care it takes to raise happy and healthy animals. So choose the best when it comes to bedding, premium cut Timothy hay, and treats for your furry and feathery friends. So if you're looking for super absorbent hemp bedding or nesting pads for your laying ladies, look no further than Eaton Pet and Pasture. Check them out right now at EatonPetandPasture.com, and first-time shoppers get a 20% discount by typing in Reec at checkout. That's REEC at checkout. Now let's get back to another excellent adventure.
It's crazy, but I love it. I love it.
They're absolutely amazing. Like I like to say that they're book smart, not street smart. In a lot of instances, because like they really are smart, right? Like
Mhm.
they recognize our faces, they learn rituals and habits, um, all of the noises that they make, which of course are very Jurassic Park, right?
Mhm. Right.
And they amaze me every single day and they crack me up with their antics and their behaviors and how much drama goes on just within the flock.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, they're hysterical. It's my favorite part of the day after work to go like pour myself a glass of wine and to go sit out with them and just let them do their thing. Like that is my favorite part of the day.
I love it. I love it. We love to hear it. We love to see it. Now, I will say this: you've coined some very nice phrases online, like granny hobbies and stuff like that, or the chicken and the cat lady. But listen, when I think of a cat lady, I don't think of someone that looks like you. I'm just gonna be honest now. I don't think I don't think you're like you can fit in between that mold. You have cats, but you just don't remind me of a crazy cat lady.
Which I hope not. But I mean, there's a stigma around anybody owning a lot of something, right?
Mhm. Right,
And
that's
and I think there's even a stigma sometimes around owning a lot of pets,
mhm,
especially if you're an animal person. And the only way that we seem to kind of negate that is if we're considered like a hobby farmer or,
mhm.
an actual farmer, then it's okay for us to have a lot of animals. But, and that's why I make jokes and references about it in granny hobbies. And I'm an
Mhm.
elder, geriatric millennial with
Right.
my cats and my chickens in my garden. Um, but there's a lot of stigmas, I think, around people who are truly connected with animals,
Mhm.
and enjoy having them around. And it's part of my everyday life. Like they bring enjoyment just as like my garden brings enjoyment
Yeah.
or reading a good book.
It
Um,
really helps with mental health. Like I found a big difference with having my animals. Some days if I feel heavy or if it feels like, just a little stressed out, just going out and doing chores with them helps me.
yes, clears your head,
Mhm.
allows you to think. It's very meditative, right? I work through a lot of problems um, when I'm out there doing those chores and thinking things through and taking care of stuff because at that point it's easy, right? Like we know how to scoop out the chicken coop, we know how to, refill everything. And so it becomes a meditative practice too, I feel like
Mhm.
going out there and doing all that, spending time in the garden and like pulling all the weeds and harvesting your food and checking everything. All of those are very meditative and humbling
Right.
too. And I think humbling from a perspective of like, there's only so much of all of this that's within our control, right? Like
Right. Right. We can
we're
do all
doing our
the best,
best.
but it
Yeah.
might go great, it might be terrible, but the work is still it kind of still is I guess gives you just a sense of accomplishment or satisfaction.
It really does.
Mhm.
The other day we made breakfast and literally everything had come from us, right?
Mm,
Like we had eggs from the garden, we had potatoes and onions like chopped up with some garlic that all came from the garden.
mm,
Um, and it's moments like that that are just really great, right? Like I feel more connected
yeah.
um to nature, to the earth, to myself. Um when we practice stuff like that.
Definitely could be gratifying. I can understand that. Now tell me how you came up with this, like your iconic chair pictures. We wait for those online.
Um It was something fun and new that I wanted to try out. And I'm not always in front of the camera.
Mhm.
A lot of it because sometimes too, like I'm up in a messy bun and a sweatshirt and I have no makeup and I'm covered in dirt. And those are not the days that I want to be in front of the
The
camera.
showcase.
Um, but I started thinking about it too, like it's not as much fun when there's not a connection piece to a person, right? It's not just my animals account. It's my account. It's my personality coming through as this elder geriatric millennial dealing with being in her 40s when she feels like she's 30.
Right.
Um, and so it really came from like, I wanted to capture what I actually do. So like, that's a lot of times like yes I've changed into like my work boots
Mhm.
and maybe have grabbed a hat or something, but some days I choose to not change out of what I wore to work for the most part and just slap on my boots so I don't get chicken poop
Chicken poop
on the
everywhere.
nice stuff. um and
I need
go just film myself hanging out having a drink with my chickens and having my heart chicken, Celeste, who's my cream leg bar,
Right.
hop up, sit on my lap, hang out with me, and watch all of them kind of do their thing.
I love
And
it.
so that's how I captured it. I just really wanted to show me and another part of me that wasn't, sweaty, red-faced, covered in dirt after having shoveled out their coop, right?
Right. That's awesome. Now we really appreciate when you post those, because I think we all kind of teeter on, we're not farmers per se all the way. We still have grown up either in the city or had something to do with like a suburban or the run. We're doing the nonstop running, but then we get to relax too and enjoy this part of life and this piece of heaven too. So it's pretty cool to see when you merge them together in picture form.
Yeah, and I think that's something too to remember that I think a lot of people forget is you don't have to be a farmer to do these things. You don't have to be a homesteader to do these things. You can check your local ordinances and see how many chickens you're allowed. And if it fits in your yard, do it. Like
Right.
if you have space for a raised garden bed or two, do it. There are ways to make these things happen without having a ton of land.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I've seen people do it on less than an acre. Like I've seen people do it just in their backyard with the coop, a few chickens, and like you said, a few raised garden beds, and
and do what makes you happy.
We've reached that part of the show where we hook you up with some insider information, and this time it's some egg side information. Y'all know what I mean. Because people ask me all the time, how do you get your chickens so fluffy and healthy and happy? And their eggs are so bright, beautiful, and they taste delicious too. I would love to dedicate all those things to me coming in and having a great time in that chicken coop every day and shaking it up with those ladies, but the fact is, it comes from a healthy and balanced diet of Purina's Layina. That's the brand we use. Whether you've got laying hens and you want to go with the Purina Layina plus omega-3, or you got a bunch of baby chicks running around in your brooder and you go with that Purina Start and Grow Crumble, you can't lose. I know we haven't. So visit their website today, and in 3 easy steps, you can get discount coupons for the Purina product that's right for some great nutrition for your animals. I did it myself and it only took me about 2 minutes. It's absolutely worth it. And to make things easier, we have the hyperlink on our website, blackyardchickens.com. Just look under product of the month and you'll see the link right there to go and try your Purina Feed Greatness. And through their trial program, they can pair you with the right nutrition and let you try it with your animals and see the results. Now, I can tell you all day how Purina Feed Greatness has been absolutely phenomenal for my chickens, goats, ducks, and rabbits. But you can see for yourself. Go to blackyardchickens.com. Now let's get back to this week's adventure.
Right? Like doing these things is what makes me happy. Being basically my granny hobbies, right? Like, so to add to that, and I haven't showed this online, like I also embroider, I crochet.
okay.
Like read books. I am 100% like living my best old lady life already.
You are 87 inside. This is nuts. You are Martha Washington.
It hits home when they start telling you that the Golden Girls were in their 40s, and I'm just
right. That makes sense.
Please
that makes
give
sense.
me give me a moo and give me some cheesecake, and yes, like done, sold.
Absolutely, man. I love it. So Washington, you moved from Arizona to Washington?
We did. So we moved, we were living in Phoenix. So we were living in, 118-degree summers.
Yeah.
5th largest city in the country, gridlock traffic, sitting in an hour of traffic one way to, for your commute. And we had the opportunity to come to Washington and, to come to, one of the larger cities in Washington, but not Seattle, like not the huge cityscape anymore. And it has been life-changing. It's so, for me, I grew up in Arizona. And so having the complete opposite of what I was raised with, 360 days of sun, rain becomes an event, like, like it sprinkles outside and you're like, oh my God, it's weather.
It's raining.
Different weather. I wake up and it's foggy, it's rainy, it's cloudy. everything's so green. I don't actually feel like I have to try very hard to grow things.
Mm,
Because I don't have nature working against me, trying to like suck the life out of all of my plants just because the sun is up.
right.
And so it's been a really lovely change of pace. You know, we're close enough to a medium-sized city that we can go for all of our needs. We want restaurants, we want to socialize, we have fun, great. But we live about 30 minutes outside of town on an acre and a half. And I think it's the perfect combination for us. Like I still have a commute, but it's like 30 minutes of a country road
Right.
commute. That's enjoyable. It's peaceful. I can listen to music, podcasts, you know, audiobooks versus like gridlock, stressful
Right.
traffic.
Right. I understand it. And then when you get home, you get your piece of pie where you get to hang out with your birds and your cats and you get to relax. And that's why I think the balance is missing from so many people. Even if they have to stay in that gridlock traffic and deal with those stresses, at least have something that takes your mind off of it in the form of self-care, even if it has feathers.
Great. And I mean, it can be so many because, right, like we're looking in an economy now where it's really hard for people to buy houses. And so they're living in apartments whether they truly want to or not, right? Like, because that's what they can afford. And there are other things that we could be doing to take care of ourselves that make us a whole person.
Yeah.
That don't require a lot and you could still do in an apartment. It may not be chickens, right? But
Well,
yeah, it could be quail, right? And I
right.
mean, who's to say they can't have like a little bantam house chicken?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Or, you know, having one of those like hydropod gardens in their
Mm-hmm.
kitchen for fresh herbs. Like
Right.
there are ways to stay connected to yourself and connected to nature, even with the gridlock of city living.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Let's talk about these eggs a little bit because you have some very vibrant colors. So tell me about these pink eggs. Who's laying them? Because I need a few.
Oh gosh. So I think the pink ones are actually coming from my black star, which is
Okay.
a black sex link,
Mm-hmm.
which is a hybrid breed meant for really high production egg laying.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those are coming from her. I finally hit because I'm at like 20 chickens, so I finally hit
Yeah.
the magic number where I'm like, I think this egg belongs to you, but I'm not
Right.
100%, especially when they're in that kind of like tan
Mhm.
brownish color. Like my blues, my greens are easier to spot because I don't
Mhm.
have as many.
Right.
But the ones that lay the really vibrant pink, I think is my black sex link because it is a brown, but she
Mm.
has such a heavy bloom on it. It gives
Gotcha.
it that really beautiful pink color.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I appreciate you sharing. I know what to go get. It's
But
like
yeah,
my little.
I have a black copper Moran. I have a couple of Easter eggers, Green Queen, speckled Sussex, Wyandotte, Rhode Island Red. Now I'm trying to remember all of them.
A great mix.
Orpington.
You know
Yeah,
what we
like
say? It
so.
was like we know what we have when something's missing. Until then, I don't know how many I have, but I know when one is missing. Then I'm like, okay, something's not here.
No, we get to
Right.
the point sometimes like I can't always count because they're moving, but then if I
Uh-huh.
stand long enough, I'll be like, no, wait, I'm missing Susan. Where is
Yep.
Susan?
Yep. Where's she at? Where's this chicken? Where did she
Yeah.
go? I love it. I love it, man. Congratulations on the article to Chicken Magazine. That's a big deal for chicken folks.
Thank you. Yes, I was really, really excited to be featured. And it's an honor. And it's always, I think it's so much, this community is so much fun, right? Like I really, really enjoy our chicken community.
Yeah.
Um, and it's so nice to be able to talk with other people who love chickens as much as we do.
Right. Right.
And I think that to me is one of the best gifts that we could have when it comes to social media is that connectiveness.
Yeah, being able
And,
to
you know,
like, that's how this happens. Like this doesn't
yeah,
happen without those social media experiences. And I mean, I've been at parties and I want to show people pictures of my chickens like it's pictures of my kids. And I know they're not really gonna relate. So stuff like this is exactly what it's for. And that magazine was a big deal. So congratulations on that.
thank you so much. No, I was really proud of it and very excited that they let me write an article for them.
Cool. Now, chicken math hit. I've heard about all of the chickens. You start from a couple in the house to 20 chickens. Now, how many cats do you have?
We have 5 cats.
Okay, so cat math isn't as strong as chicken math, but it can get
It's true. I think after like it's the same as the chickens, right? Like after
there.
a certain point, it's the same level of care,
Yeah.
no matter how many. And ours came because we had more before and we were down to 2 and we were going to just stay with our 2. They're geriatric, they're old. Both we got when we were in our 20s. But our son came along and he, was just adamant for such a long time. He's like, no, these are your guys' cats.
I want my own cat.
Yeah, I want my own
Taught 'em
cat
well.
who loves me, pays attention to me. Like your cats are all old and cranky and don't want to have anything to do with me. And so what started as, okay, 1, then it was like, no, we're probably better off having 2 so that they can play with each other and not
Right.
annoy the
Oh, it's
2.
just like chicken math.
Yeah. And then
Because she's got to have somebody to play with. And what if those 2 get bored? Then we got to have a third guy so the third guy can round it out. So now if they have to vote, somebody's there to break the vote. I get it.
So the third one actually came along because we did a foster to adopt with our local shelter. And again, they know I'm a sucker because I'm active with our local animal shelter. And so they were like, hey, we know you're just interested in the 2, but this one is from the same litter and she's actually not quite old enough to have her spay surgery. Would you want to just take her home for a week or 2 until she's old enough? And then, bring her back when she's ready and we can put her up for adoption. And, I was like, yeah, sure. Absolutely. Sounds like a great idea. And then my partner and my child were like, well, we're never giving her back. So now we have 3 new kittens.
There
Like
you go.
you can't take her back. And I was like,
I was going to ask you, like, how long ago was this? 3 years? Like,
yeah, it was 3
Oh, shit.
3 years ago.
I love it. I love
yeah,
it. So tell me this: what is the dream? What is the dream animal? Because all chicken people seem to have this one thing that they want on the wish list. Do you have that dream animal?
Yeah, I do. There's actually I have several dream animals, but there's an order to it.
All right, give me 3. Give me 3 of them.
Oh, absolutely. So turkeys are going to be next for me.
I have
really,
a turkey.
really.
They're like cute chickens in the brain.
I know, and everybody that talks to me that has them says that they're so much like even friendlier than the chickens, and I'm like, yes, I want a lap turkey. Give me a lap turkey.
Right.
And I actually had geese growing up, and I really want to have geese again. And I know everybody has mixed feelings on geese, but I had a really amazing experience with our with our geese growing up, and so I really, would like to have those again. And then future when we're ready is going to be goats.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a goat dad now, so.
Yeah, I think that'll be our limit. As much as I like our mini cows, as much as I like the little miniature burros and like all of those, and I want to have them all. Unless I move off of our 1.5 acres and move to like a 5-acre property, I think, a couple of goats, our turkeys and our geese with our chickens will be our max limit on our current property.
I love it. I appreciate you. So then it'll be Sarah cats and cluckers and goats and
I'm gonna have to get creative, right? Like the mini cows made sense because I could call them coos like they do in Scotland, and it could stay with the C's. But otherwise, I'm gonna have to be creative and come up with see what other nicknames for these animals I can get.
Who wouldn't want a mini Highland just looking at them every morning? Come on, man. It just makes sense.
They
Thank
make
you.
me so like the serotonin levels when I look at them.
Yeah, right. It's through the roof. It's better
I
than
just
any 5-hour energy or Red Bull or anything. Like I just need a picture of a Highland. Imagine me petting one every day.
No kidding. Like my team knows, like if I'm upset about something, like they just literally hand me coffee and show me pictures of cute baby farm animals and are like, "Here,
Yes.
Sarah, like
Mhm.
just sit there and drink your coffee and look at this. Everything will be fine in like 5 minutes."
There you go. I love it. There's your boost of serotonin for the day. Go look at a baby mini cow. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. This was so much fun.
Man, absolutely. We'll continue to look at your stuff online. You always bring us joy. Good luck with your garden, your cats, and your cluckers.
Thanks so much. And I love your content. I can't wait to see more of what you're doing.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Excellent Adventures powered by Blackyard Chickens.
Now, if you think you want to raise your own backyard flock, here's the site for you, blackyardchickens.com. We make entertaining videos about raising baby chicks from scratch. You know what I mean by from scratch, right? Or maybe you want to learn how to take care of your own big chickens or hens and get those fresh eggs, building a coop or buying a coop, having the necessary things inside that coop to get great egg production. You'll learn a lot of the neat tricks I've picked up along the way from other chicken enthusiasts, and you can get pretty eggs just like those. So follow us on social media and check us out on our YouTube channel.